Namaste students, myself JVN Vijesh Kumar Yadav, Faculty of Education and Methodology, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University, Jaipur. Students, I welcome to all of you in my digital class. Students, I have prepared this lecture for MSc Botany. Paper name is Microbiology and today's topic is Protista. Protists. Okay. Nowadays we are discussing about microbes. As you know, the paper name is Microbiology. So in microbiology we used to study microbes. Now microbes may be prokaryotic or eukaryotics. Okay. Apart from that, some microbes are algae, some of them are fungi, some of them are helminths, some of them are protists, and most of them are bacteria. You all know. Okay. So before this class we have already studied some of the characteristic feature of bacteria. Okay, some of the characteristic features of bacteria, how bacteria has been discovered, what are their characters, historical background, all those things, all those aspects we have seen in case of bacteria. Today's turn is of Protista. Students, during BSc course you might have studied zoology, and in zoology animal diversity was there. Okay, in that animal diversity there is a phylum Protista, that is Protozoa. Maybe name would be different, but whole organisms are there. Okay, so in BSc animal diversity class you might have studied protozoans. Okay, these protozoans are belonging to the category that is Protista according to the classification of Whitaker, and you might have studied this. Whitaker has classified 5 kingdoms. Whole organisms has been divided into 5 kingdoms, and first one is Monera, second is Protista. Okay, on the basis of their evolutionary history. Okay, so in that category Protista is at second rank. Today's topic is Protista. So in this kingdom Protista we will see what are those organisms, what are their characters, what are their organization of these organisms, how they are different from previous one Monera, and how they are different from earlier next, that is animals. Okay, so all those aspects we will see in this class. So let's start how this Protista or protozoans are similar to bacteria. Similar to bacteria, these Protista are unicellular, means their whole body is composed of, made up of single cell. Okay, within that single cell whole metabolism, physiology, reproduction, all those activity of life is going on. Okay, that is unicellular. So similar to bacteria, protozoans or Protista are unicellular. One of the first group of living organism on the earth. So this Protista is one of the first group on living organisms on the earth, that is eukaryotic. Okay, before this bacteria appeared, that bacteria was prokaryotic, but they are eukaryotic. They are microscopic. Obviously, since they are microscopic, that's why we are studying them in the class of microbiology. Okay, so they cannot be seen without microscope. We cannot see them naked eye. Okay, they can cause diseases and they can be parasites. So these are the some characters of protozoans which are similar to bacteria. Now we'll see how this Protista are different from bacteria. Okay, so unlike to bacteria, they are eukaryotic, means they have well defined nucleus. Okay, whereas you have seen in bacteria there were no nucleus. Their chromosome is spread anywhere in the cytoplasm. That is not a particular defined area of the cytoplasm. But here chromosomes is confined to a particular area that is in the center of the nucleus, that is known as nucleus, in the center of cytoplasm. Okay, they live in water environment. Okay, whereas bacteria can be found anywhere. They are cosmopolitan, whether they are aquatic or aerial or land or unusual places, they can be found anywhere. But unlike bacteria, protozoans, protista are watery, found in watery environment. They are generally live as a individual cells. Most of the bacteria you might have seen, they are in colonial forms. They cannot be found in single individual. But here protozoans can be found as an individual. Now protista vary greatly in appearance and functions. Their appearance, morphological structures may vary. Okay, and their functions. Now there are three categories of protists. Okay, first one is animal like protist, those protista which are animal like. Second category is those protista which are similar to plants, and third one is those protists which are similar to fungus. Okay, so in next slides we will study all of them one by one in detail. Okay, so let's start with first category, that is animal like protists. Okay, they are called as protozoans. So in other terms, protozoa is a group of protista. Okay, whereas you might have studied protozoa as a synonymous to the protista, and I can also use it as a synonymous, but this is not like that. Protozoa is a group of protista. Okay, so they are animal like protist, they are protozoans, means first animal. Proto means first, proto stand for first, zoon means animals, so they are the first animals. Cells contain a nucleus. As you all know, protists are eukaryotic. Cells lack a cell wall. Unlike to bacteria, they are lacking of cell wall because they are animal cells. That's why they are considered as a animal cells. They don't have cell wall. They are heterotrophs because they don't have chloroplast. Due to the lack of chloroplast, they cannot prepare their food material, so they have to dependent on other animals. That's why they are heterotrophs. So unlike to bacteria, they are heterotrophs. Most of protozoans can move on their own way. They have some locomotory organs to move from one place to other place. Okay, so these are the characteristic features of animal like protists, that is protozoans. Now there are four groups of animal like protists. What are those? Sarcodines, ciliates, flagellates, and sporozoans. Students, I expect in your BSc class you might have studied all those four groups in detail, but still I will try my best to make you better understanding in brief. Okay, just it's a kind of remind of your previous knowledge. So let's start with first one, that is sarcodines. They have pseudopods, that is false food. They have pseudopods for the purpose of locomotion, movement. They have extension of the cell membrane and cytoplasm. Pseudopods are used for movement and the capturing of food material. Not only movement, pseudopodia is used for the capturing of food. Many have cells. These cells have limestone, marbles and chalk. Okay, these cells are from limestone. Some of the examples of this group is amoeba. This is well known example and you might have studied it since your elementary education. Okay, amoeba, most familiar sarcoids. Okay, it has pseudopods, that is blob shaped. It has contractile vacuoles. These contractile vacuoles control amount of water inside and outside. It has food vacuole where food is digested. Okay, these are some of the characteristics and features of amoeba. Now second group of protozoans are ciliates. They have cilia on their outside of the cells. That's why this group name has been given ciliates on the basis of cilia. So obviously this cilia is for locomotion of organisms. Is for locomotion of that organism. They are tiny hair-like projections used for movement together and to gather food as a fillers. Okay, so these organelles used for capturing the foods for locomotion. Okay, now example of this paramecium. These organisms you have also studied in your graduation level. There is a pellicle, that is outer wall. They are sleeper shaped. They have oral grooves like mouth. They have gullet to hold the food. They have food vacuole to digest the food. They have anal pores that removes the waste. They have two contractile vacuoles, one is larger, another is smaller. Two nuclei is present. Their reproduction is by binary fission or by conjugation. I expect you might have studied in graduation all those things. Okay, but for time being here, just you remind your previous knowledge. Third group is flagellates, that is known as zooflagellates. Okay, in images you can see them. They have flagellum. On the basis of this name, flagellates has been given. A long whip-like structure which is used for the movement. Many of them live in animals, means they are endophytic. Endozoolic means another animals they found. Some of them are symbiosis. They form symbiosis, a close relationship, at least one benefits. Okay. Another is mutualism, when both partners get benefited. Okay. So these are some of the characters and examples and images of zooflagellates. Now fourth one is sporozoans. Sporozoans. Some of the characters of sporozoans are, all sporozoans are parasites, means they are dependent on other organisms for getting food material. They feed on cells and body fluid. That's why they are dependent on others. They form spores, that is reproductive cells. That's why their name has been given that sporozoans. They pass from one host to another host. They can be transmitted from one organism to other organism. They pass from tick, mosquitoes and other animals to humans. Okay, they are the vector. And one of the most important example of sporozoans is Plasmodium. And again, I assure that you must have studied in your graduation class. Now, second group is protists, which are plant-like, that is algae. Okay, and in phycology class you will study algae in detail, but for time being here I will give you a brief idea of algae. They are unicellular and multicellular. So those algae which are similar to protist, means example of protist, they are unicellular as well as multicellular. They form colonies groups of unicellular protists. They can move on their own. They are autotrophs. As you all know, they are algae, so they are autotrophs because they have chloroplast. They can do that process of photosynthesis, make their own food from simple material using light energy, that is photosynthesis. 70% of Earth's oxygen is produced by these plant-like protists, means by these algae. So algae are the great source of oxygen on the earth. Pigments, that is the chemicals that produce color. On the basis of this color, their name has been given, and you might have studied in graduation. There are many groups of algae such as green algae, blue green algae, red algae, brown algae. Okay. Now there are 6 groups of plant-like protists. What are those? Euglenoids, diatoms, dinoflagellates, red algae, green algae and brown algae. Students, here we will discuss about first 3, that those are euglenoid, diatoms and dinoflagellates. Red algae, green algae and brown algae will discuss in phycology class. That is not necessary for here. But you must know these are also belonging to this group. Okay. Now euglenoids, they are green in color. They are unicellular. They live in fresh water. They are autotrophic but can be heterotrophic under certain conditions. Means depending on situation, they can be autotrophic and they can be heterotrophic. Okay. They have flagella. They have eye spot which is sensitive to light. They have chloroplast. They have pellicles. Since they have chloroplast, so you can guess they are autotrophic in nature. They can prepare their food material by their own way. Okay. These are the structures of features of euglenoids. Now second group is diatoms. They are also unicellular. There are 10,000 living species has been recognized of diatoms. They are aquatic. They are glass-like cell wall. Diatomaceous earth, which is the coarse powder that comes from dead diatoms that used to prepare toothpaste, car polish and reflective paints. So these are the economic importance of diatoms. Okay. Third one is dinoflagellates. They are also unicellular. Cell wall are like plates of armor. They have 2 flagella. They spin when it moves. They are colorful, means they have pigments. They can glow in the dark. They causes red tide. Students, one unique feature with dinoflagellates is, as I have told, they can glow in dark. They are producing light in dark. That's why they are called as bioluminescents. Okay. They produce particular lights. Next one is the third category of protists are fungus-like protists, means those protists which are similar to fungus. How they are similar to fungus? What are their feature of protists? We'll see. Similar to fungus, they are heterotrophs. Why fungus are heterotrophs? Because they don't have chloroplast, so they cannot prepare their food material. Ultimately, they have to be dependent on others organism, that is heterotrophs. They have cell wall. Unlike to protozoans, they have cell wall. Many have flagella and are able to move at some point in their lives. Okay. They have movement with the help of flagella. Okay. There are 3 types of fungus-like protists. They are slime molds, water and downy molds. Okay. Slime molds, water molds and downy molds. They can reproduce with the help of spores, that is tiny cell that is able to grow into new organisms. Okay, this is also part of your mycology paper. I hope if I am right, then this mycology in your first semester. Okay, so in mycology you will study about fungi in detail, but for time being here you focus on the brief knowledge of fungi. Okay, now water and downy mills. Okay, they live in water or moist places. Tiny threads that look like fuzz, they attach food crops, they cause iris potato famine. Student, this is the topic of plant pathology, where you study what are those diseases, what are those symptoms, and what are those causal organisms because of that disease appeared, and what are the prevention and life cycle of causal organisms. All those aspects of these diseases you will study in detail in your plant pathology. Okay, so students, in this way we have finished this topic. On next topic we will meet with new topic. Students, I request to all of you, please go through books which I have recommended and try to find out those doubts or concepts, and if you have any problem, any doubts, feel free to share with me, to ask me. Okay, thank you very much.